Excellent.
We're going to go live here.
And we're going live here.
Hi!
We're live!
Oh
Way cool!
Gosh, it's so nice to see you.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the November edition of the Jamie and Shannon Facebook Live Acoustic Concert.
Misfit Stars Facebook Live Acoustic Concert.
Brought to you by our Misfit Stars community.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Misfit Stars, for the support that you give us and for making this concert possible. We're so happy that we get to do this.
Why don't we get right into a song?
Okay, let's do it.
Great.
We're gonna get right into a song. All the songs on the set list tonight were voted on by our Misfit Stars community. The ones with the most votes got into the set list. And so what you're going to hear tonight is stuff that our Misfit Stars chose. We're starting off with like a few songs from the way, way back machine.
Like way, way back.
Like this first one that we're going to do for you is a song I wrote before I even met Jamie. Like
she had brown hair.
This is called Can't Remember You. mean, I was in a band for a number of years in my 20s, and that was one of the first songs I wrote after my band broke up and I started writing music as a solo artist. That was one of the first ones. I was in this like really transformational time in my life. And
Everything was so dramatic, you guys. I mean, it's still dramatic, right?
Everything's still dramatic.
It's just a different kind of drama. It was about love. And actually, though, this one is about like a previous version of yourself.
That's right.
And making peace with a previous version of the person you were. I know that's a relatable topic to some of you out there.
Totally.
It is for me.
We're going to revisit that topic later on tonight with some newer songs that our Misfit stars
That's foreshadowing.
Voted for. So they thank you all so much for being here with us. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. We can kind of see some of the comments popping in here and there, but they're sort of distant, and that's probably good because otherwise we would get distracted.
My cousin sister-in-law Christina's here.
That's right.
Hi.
There's so many lovely friends here. But I want you to know that
Sister and cousin-in-law?
after this is over, the live version, we dutifully go back and look at all your comments. So if you send us little messages, we'll see them. And also, feel free to chat with each other during this time. That's one of the fun parts about gathering from all over the planet on a live video thing like this, is you get to interact with each other. So go nuts.
We're going to see like 1 in every 50 of your comments. 2 reasons for that. 1, volume. There's going to be some volume. We know that from last time. You all go nuts in the comments. That's great. Love it. 2, you might have noticed we have professionalized our production here. Remember the first one of these we did? It was just dark by the end of the thing because we hadn't thought about it.
What we were doing.
Now we have ring lights.
We're so pro.
The camera's right in the middle of one of the ring lights, so I try to look at your comments and I just see a white circle.
It's all good. Also, this is the first month that we're doing a simulcast. We're doing a simulcast.
We're doing a simulcast.
On YouTube. We've never done YouTube live before, but we're like, let's give it a shot. So I don't even know if there are YouTube folks watching us tonight here or not, but if you are, hi, we can't see your comments at all, but...
It's specifically for our friend in Helena, Montana, our dirt bike riding friend. It's
Well,
for you. He's a suggestion. He's the one
is-
who's like, I don't do Facebook.
it's for
I would love to watch.
people who aren't on Facebook. We want you to be included too. So let's keep going with this train
Let's do
of
it.
like more songs from the Wayback Machine. This next one was definitely from my like love and relationship phase of songwriting. One of our Misfit stars, Megan, who is also a dear friend.
Old school friend.
So
Hi, Megan.
one of the things that we do when we ask our Misfit Stars community to vote on the songs that we're going to play is that we ask them if they have any personal story that they want to share for one of the songs that they voted for, to share it, and then we will read it during the concert. And we have a lot of personal stories tonight, actually, like really good ones. You're in for some real yummy treats of some personal stuff. But my friend Megan, and who is also one of our Misfit
Megan's
stars.
here. She sent us hearts. I see her.
Megan!
Hi, Megan.
She commented on this next song, which is a song called "Don't Call Me," from my love and relationship phase of songwriting.
This was from 2008, this one.
This one, yeah, and she said, "Don't Call Me," it reminds me of the first show where we really fell in love, and she's talking about me and her falling in love with each other, because we did. I was on a tour, well, she says here.
It's like a bromance, but for chicks.
She's like, when I drove down from Seattle to the Buffalo Gap Saloon in Portland, on your tour with the boys, so many fun memories. I was on a tour in 2010. I paired up with some other songwriter friends. It was me and 3 boys. My very dear friend Nick Bearden, my very dear friend JT Spangler, and Aaron Beaumont as well was part of this crew. And we got in a van and we drove all over the western U.S.
I named what they were doing. I take credit for the name. The name, get this, Band of Songwriters.
So
Awesome
the
name.
thing we did was we each had our own songs, but we were backing each other up as a band for our songs. And so like I was part of the band when JT was doing his songs, and
She was like his keyboard player.
everybody else was part of the band when we were doing my songs. And that's where we met my friend Megan, who shared her memory of this song tonight. Let's just play the song. This is...
You can just keep talking about it.
No, let's not. Let's play the song. This is Don't Call Me. Enjoy. I get to start this. Don't call me when you're lonely. Don't call me when you're blue. If you call me when you're broken hearted, then I'm not the girl for you. Don't ask me to come over when you can't sleep
heart button if you love Shannon Curtis.
Oh my gosh.
Woohoo!
I had this like tickle in my throat through that entire song. I was waiting to like just, oh no.
You should have.
It's live. What can you do about it? Nothing. I love it.
Oh, look at all the hearts.
So many hearts.
And just some likes. Some people are like, oh, you know, we'll get to love later. Maybe we're gonna start at like.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's okay.
Okay, so I'm really excited about this next song. We actually have 2 Misfit Stars personal stories to go along with this song. But I want you to know before we play this one that the next 2 songs are about Jamie. Aww.
Aww.
Because and this one is from the Wayback Machine still too, and you know that's because during my love and relationship phase of songwriting is when I met Jamie and we started dating. So I wrote a little love song about him, and that's what we're gonna play for you next.
Everyone's like barfing.
Everyone's barfing. No, there's hearts. I see hearts.
Oh, good. Good.
But let me go ahead and actually, can you read this while I like collect my?
I'd be happy to. Is it the first one here?
Yes, sure. Great.
And we're attributing these?
Yes, go ahead.
Great, cool. This is wonderful. So these are from 2 of our dear Misfit Stars. The first one is from Michelle Falker. Michelle says, "Waking Up With You was one of the first love songs I played for Laurie." Laurie's her wife. It always evokes memories of our first few months together when love was shiny and new. Man, it does for me too.
Totally. Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh, absolutely.
And when you hear it, you'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. That pencils out. Laurie, Michelle continues. "Almost 11 years later, through all of our ups and downs, the lyrics still speak to the love we share and the peace Laurie brings to my life."
Aww.
Isn't that lovely?
That's so lovely.
Love you too.
That's so lovely.
Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
And the second one that you're going to read is interesting. Over the years, I have heard, even though this was originally written as a love song for Jamie, I've heard so many people over the years share with me that this song became a special song between them and their children. And that's what this next one's about too.
That is so sweet.
Yeah.
It's from our very dear friend Thea Enos. We love you, Thea. And Thea says, waking up with you reminds me of waking up next to my infant son morning after morning.
Aww.
He is now 9, and even still, he's a sweet, happy morning riser. That'll change, but that's lovely. Our quiet moments together when he was so tiny felt like Christmas morning, like April warming into May. Sweet, sweet memories for me. Mwah. I love that.
it.
Love you. Thank you, Thea. That's so beautiful.
Thank you for sharing that with us. That's lovely. So
we've never had kids. We're not going to know about that.
No, it's
so
true.
we rely on your stories about what kids are like. Instead, we just do music in our corner of our living room. It's like having kids, but you're our kids.
It's not at all like having kids.
Right.
Okay, this is Waking Up With You. Hope you like it. Waking up with you is like Christmas morning, it's like April warming into May. Staying here with you remember when we first recorded that song. Jamie and I made our first recordings together in the first year of our relationship. And this was one of the first ones we worked on together. And it was so magical, like getting to make music with the person I was falling in love with. Oh my gosh.
I know, me too.
It was really awesome.
And also for me, with the added bonus of knowing that the song was like about me. Who gets songs written about them? Me, all of a sudden in 2007. Wow.
Yes.
And Shannon kept writing songs about me, and we're gonna go there next.
We are. It's true. You had another song written about you back in like, what was this, 2000?
Notice how she switches to passive voice there. You had a song written about you.
You had a song written about you.
That's also foreshadowing, people.
Was this 2013?
I think late 2013 is when you wrote this, yeah.
Late 2013.
Mm-hmm.
This song was on the album called Metaforma that we put out in 2014.
Still a favorite record of mine.
Yeah. And we had a rough patch, the two of us, that winter. I don't even know, I can't remember specifically what it was about. All I know is
I think I was, in retrospect, I'll tell you what.
Okay.
In retrospect, I think I was dealing with some low-grade depression. And didn't really realize that at the time. It was the first time it really happened to me in sobriety, and I just didn't recognize it. You know what I mean? It just, I thought it was something else. I wasn't sure what was wrong. I was just anxious. I wanted to crawl out of my own skin, and I hadn't yet evolved the more advanced tools that I have now to like identify and deal with stuff like that. So I just took it out on her.
Yeah, but I brought my own stuff to the rough patch too. Like you know, and this is what the song really kind of is about the idea that we each kind of had to get back to a place of remembering why we chose to be with each other, and acknowledging that stuff can get hard sometimes, and it did for us then, and it's gotten hard since then too. But this is a good song to go back to as a reminder.
Good touchstone for sure.
Yeah. So this is called "I Am With You." Are you ready, Jamie?
I am now.
Okay.
Are you ready, Shannon?
I'm so ready.
How about you? Are you ready? Mash some hearts if you are ready for a song about me being a complete nightmare in a relationship.
No, it's not about that.
Oh, right. It's about the good stuff that happens after.
Play the song.
Okay.
Play the song.
Pretty sure this is how it starts.
Okay. Opposite sides of a room, standing off in a stare. Even if I found the words, could you comprehend them? It's you, I know your face, but there is a stranger in the place of the one who knows my heart best. We never guessed that it would be this hard. We always said it's you and me against the odds. Our fear gaining an edge. Our best promises are put to the test. Am I with you? Am I with you? Who is this monster with bitter words spat from her lips? You're not the enemy. How did I let it get to this? It's you, the same one I picked, 'cause you understood like no one else did. Forgive me as I forget. We never guessed that it would be this hard. We always said it's you and me against the odds.
awesome.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool.
I love that one. That song, I have one of my biggest regrets in audio production about that song because I love how I produced that song. And I was early in my career, and I did not know that when you use virtual instruments, you should commit them to audio files so you can have them forever. I literally cannot open up that song to do anything with it. Do a remix, to send it to someone else, nothing. It is what it is.
No.
It's in the world, that's that.
It's a gift. The universe gave you a gift in that. You can't ever touch it because it's just going to exist as it was meant to exist.
I don't ever go back to albums.
And ever.
I want y'all to know I don't go revisit records.
Anymore.
That's Shannon's like implying that I do.
Anymore.
Yeah. Look, here's the deal. Since Shannon opened this up, here's the deal. I actually did something really cool, right? So at the beginning of our relationship, I was still just learning how to like produce records. I was literally just learning, right? Mm-hmm. The first version that we made of Boomerangs and Seesaws, that entire EP, there were 3 songs on there that just did not pass muster. Like when you listen to them, they sounded weak and small. And we pressed it like that, and we sent 1,000 CDs out into the world like that, and people bought them. Before the second pressing of that CD, that EP, I literally went back in and remixed almost all of that record. And so the second pressing of it and all pressings subsequently are different mixes than the first pressing of that record. So if you have one of those first pressings,
it's rare.
That's super rare.
It's very rare.
And the way to tell is, does it sound like crap? If so, I made it. It's rare. It's worth a lot.
No, okay, this is a great, you unknowingly provided a great segue into the next song.
What is it?
Okay, because you were talking about like, when you were you're still learning how to be an engineer and maybe like not nearly as good as you are now, but like this older version of yourself, and this next song is about making peace with older versions of ourselves. Because like all of us, whether we're an audio engineer or just a human being in general, like there are parts of our lives, I'm sure that there's parts of your life that when you look back on it, you're like, oh man, what was I even thinking? Like we all have those. And I have those in my life. And this next song is really sort of about like, instead of looking back at those older versions and feeling like disdain or regret, seeing them as a building block to, the eventual person that we're becoming now, that's all part of the process. And this song is about sort of making peace with that. And we've got this lovely story from one of our Misfit stars. It's an anonymous story, but this person shared with us why he voted for Dear Little Girl, which is the song that we're going to be playing next. And Jamie's going to read it for you.
And by the way, if you are listening to Shannon talk and you're like, wait, voted for, what does this mean? The set list for every single one of these monthly acoustic concerts that Shannon and I do is voted on by the members of our Misfit Stars support community. So, our Misfit Stars support community, what's that? Basically, it's a group of people who support what we do in the world in an ongoing way. In this time of global pandemic, heading into winter, we're real glad that we have this ongoing monthly support. If you also want to support me and Shannon in a small dollar ongoing way, we would love that. Little advertisement. Go to misfitstars.com/join. Again, that's misfitstars.com/join. Sign up, and you too can pick the songs we play for these concerts and submit your personal stories, and I or Shannon will read them on air.
That's right.
So there's that.
On air. I love that.
On air.
Read the story for us.
On phone.
On phone. Okay.
So here's a story from our anonymous and very dear star. He says, my first time hearing even one note of Shannon Curtis music was at a house concert in October 2018. I was invited to attend the Both at the Same Time tour by a friend. I didn't know Shannon or Jamie at all. This is true. This is where we met this person. So glad. I sat transfixed during the concert, listening to every word and passionately played note. Near the end of the set, Shannon played Dear Little Girl. I found myself choked up during the songs. I realized how much I truly identified with the message contained within the lyrics. Though I was never a little girl, I was someone who, at that very moment, was attempting to reconcile my own past after a dramatic faith transition. I didn't know how to think about my former self, a person with whom I no longer shared many of the beliefs that I used to hold so dear. I had been angry, ashamed, and even disgusted by my younger self, who viewed the world in rigid black and white terms. In Dear Little Girl, I heard compassion for self and an understanding that we often move through seasons in our lives. I saw in Shannon someone who was further down that road than I was, and who had found a way not only to make peace with her past, but actually to embrace it as a necessary part of her journey. It was this song that prompted me to approach Shannon after the concert and strike up a conversation asking her about the meaning of the lyrics. We found common ground that night. Jamie joined in the conversation too, and now I have two dear friends from whom I've learned so much, and with whom I've enjoyed this leg of the journey.
I love it.
I love it. You know who you are, we know who you are, we've learned from you too.
It's true.
It's a two-way street.
And this person wanted to remain anonymous, and I totally understand that. And also what they wrote in that is exactly what I was processing when I wrote this song. And so to get to hear somebody share with me their own experience with something that I wrote, and just to form like common ground on that is so special.
It's like when you go to an AA meeting and you just started going, they tell you, wait until you hear someone tell your story. Because when you hear someone else reflect your story back to you, that's how it's validated and you know you're not alone in the world.
Totally.
Same thing.
Same.
You did that for her. Thank you.
Thank you. So, this is Dear Little Girl. Dear little girl, with your little hands you colored such straight lines, attempts to hem the tangled chaos of the time we survived. Little girl, with your little voice you spoke from memory. The stories you were told to help you sleep in a make-believe peace. There's a picture of you in the locket around my neck. I'm moving on, but I promise not to forget that you were there for me when I needed some certainty, and you believed it. Oh, you believed it. There's this mystery. Listen, it beckons me. I'm moving on, and I won't forget. Dear little girl, in your little fists you clutched the fading flowers, like our life depended on the faith they'd never go around. There's a picture of you in the locket around my neck. I'm moving on, but I promise not to forget that you were there for me when I needed some certainty, and you believed it. Oh, you believed it. There's this mystery. Listen, it beckons a picture of you.
Oh.
I'm so glad we got to play that song.
Me too. That's a deep cut, you all. Even though it's just from 2018, it's still kind of a deep cut. You know what I mean? It was the last song on the record. I really loved it as a last song because it has kind of this portentous thing. Like it almost is starting a new chapter at the end of a book.
Yes.
You know, it's really cool.
Kind of what the song sort of is about. You know, that idea of moving on from an earlier version of yourself, much like the story that Jamie shared from our Misfit Star, before that song, when he mentioned having been through a major faith transition, that's the words that he used, that is reflective exactly of what my story was, and probably one of the reasons why I've bonded so much in friendship with this person, because we really understand each other a lot. And so, yeah, at the end of my 20s, the beginning of my 30s, I made that same kind of transition, and really it was a moment for me of kind of coming into my own self as an adult, you know, in a lot of ways, and discovering that the way that I used to think about the world when I was younger wasn't working for me anymore. And that's not to say that faith or even that brand of faith can't work for somebody else. I just knew that it wasn't working for me, and that I needed a wholesale change from it. But I have to say that, like, even though I made a break with that and have been on a different journey since then in terms of like how I understand my own spirituality, one of the great joys for me of this new era of my life over the last 17 years. Am I 47? Is that what I am?
Alarmingly,
yeah.
Shannon's 47.
But one of the great joys in that period.
You're 46.
I'm 46. Excuse me. I guess I
see, everything's fine.
2020 has felt like more than 1 year, so let's just.
That's fair. That's fair.
But one of the great joys in this sort of like second era of my life, in terms of my spirituality, as far as that's concerned, is there's just been a lot of joy in these moments where I sort of rediscover or I figure out how there are some old parts of me or some old ideas that I rehearsed as a child that now actually resonate very deeply with the person that I am now and the kind of person that I want to be. And so when I was a kid, one of the things that my mom had us do, she had us memorize Bible verses. If you are raised in the church, maybe you.
Shannon can still quote chapter and verse.
I still can. But there's one of those verses that came back to me in late 2016, early 2017, when I was writing the album The Space Between, that came back just like a Mack truck into my brain as I was thinking about how I as a human being live in a way that is in harmony with what I know to be true, and how that can be more difficult to do than to say. So let me just read this verse for you, and then I'm going to tell you more about the song that we're going to do next. But this verse says this, and you probably have heard this before.
Is this like a Bible verse?
It is an actual Bible verse, yes.
Whoa.
But I want you to know, I'll tell you why I'm reading it. It says, if I speak in the tongues of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong, a clanging cymbal. If I can fathom all the mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have faith that can move mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor, and give over my body to hardship so that I may boast, but I do not have love, I gain nothing. And at the end of 2016 and early 2017, after the election of 2016, my eyes were really opened to a lot of things, to a lot of suffering that a lot of people in the world have experienced that I had previously had the privilege of being blind to, because I live in a body that has white skin in a country that has a lot of freedoms afforded to it that a lot of other countries don't. And you know, I realized at that time that I was going to have to step it up in terms of my actions in my life if I really wanted to be a kind of person that lived in harmony with what I claimed to be true.
You're talking about not just talking the talk, but walking the walk.
Exactly. You know, and I knew at that time that it was going to involve submitting myself to learning new things that I hadn't learned before.
Maybe even humbling yourself.
Unlearning, yes, humbling myself, exactly, and unlearning old ways of thinking, and also putting myself on the line to say what's true, to act on it in ways that might cost me. You know,
like y'all who've been around us for a number of years, for a long time, like, you know, predating 2016, 17, you might remember that, like, before 2017, Shannon and I weren't real public about how we felt about sensitive issues. You know, and I think both of us were really horrified to confront that about ourselves in 2017 with this kind of awakening that we had. Like, we don't, like, it's such an unfathomable luxury to choose or not choose to confront injustice, right? Because it means it's not happening to you.
Right.
But those of us who don't confront it, and when we have the luxury not to confront it, are complicit in it.
Totally.
That's the deal. And that's the thing about ourselves that we learned when we sort of both had this awakening in 2017.
Yeah, and this song was written in the middle of that realization. And I read you that Bible verse because this is one of the things that I sort of love to do as a songwriter, is I love to pull these little snippets of things from my memory from earlier in my life and apply them to what I'm thinking and processing today. And you're going to hear an echo of that in this song, which is called Clanging Cymbal. And here it is. Face was in the news today, a window on a world away from me, sipping coffee at home. Torn and tired, she risked her flight in the cover of the night. I slept tucked in from the cold. Don't believe me when I say I love you. If today I say nothing at all, no one thought to ask his name. 'Cause don't all those boys act the same? Just 1, 2, and out goes a light. The silence blend into the noise, but listening's a privileged choice. For ears paired with faces like mine. Don't believe me when I say I love you. If today I have nothing to say, I'm warning you, my words cannot be trusted. If my lips are silent at this rate, I am just a cloud
was some shit at our house concert in 2017. Real talk. No, honestly. Because here's the thing. 2017 was the very first house concert tour where we kind of came out as having opinions about things other than like love
and relationships and self-discovery.
Yeah, you know what I mean? This was not like the let's sip Chardonnay and get lightly smashed while Shannon's inspiring show that I think people were accustomed to and some of them hoping for. And for sure, some people were like, this is absolutely not what I signed up for. But I'll tell you what, this tour, this album, and this new era of what Shannon and I are doing is also how we found all of you.
It's true.
Everybody on here who is special to us, everybody on here who feels a kinship now with what Shannon and I are doing and who we are and the energy we put in the world, it's because of this shift. It's because we finally had worked up the guts to be honest.
And people who we knew before who stuck around, because not everybody stuck around, you know. But this is the stuff that, you know, I want to be involved in the hard, meaningful stuff in my life, you know. And I want to be doing it with people who are into that too. And so thank you for being those people.
You know, as I get older, I just feel like I have less time to waste on trivial BS. Seriously, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just want to get right to the meaty stuff right now.
Yeah. Totally.
And you all go there with us all of the time. Totally. We are so grateful to you for that. Thank you.
Hey, and you know, we're gonna get deep here for a second.
Deeper than that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Well, you know,
I thought that was deep.
Totally. But you know, like this year, I mean, I don't need to tell you that 2020 has been a challenge for everybody. But it's been more than a challenge for some people. It's been downright painful and a time of suffering for a lot of people. And I just want to acknowledge that. Like, I know I think that I can't spend too many hours of my day thinking about the number of human lives that have been touched by COVID-19, or else it would kind of just weigh me down. But I think it's also really important to stay in touch with that and to acknowledge the fact that so many lives have been altered forever and so many people have died because of this pandemic. And in that spirit, we're going to be playing a song next that was written about grief and about loss. And I'm going to read a story from our Misfit star Robin Elliott, who shared her story with us before we play this song. I'm just going to go ahead and read it now, and then I'll have a couple other things to say after this and some questions.
Do you want me to read it?
No, I'm good, and
Okay.
I'll have some questions for you too. So our dear friend Robin says this: I love all your music, but would really love to hear Anti-Gravity live again. And that's the song we're going to do now. I was first introduced to your beautiful music by our dear friend Melody after my husband and high school sweetheart passed in June 2013 from cancer. Melody dropped off your CD at my home and told me the Anti-Gravity story, which was a story about, I wrote this song for our neighbor who had lost her husband. And that's what it's about. She says, I eventually listened, and it brought me comfort when I most needed it. I was comforted again when I got to hear you perform it live at Steve and Melody's Summer House concert. She goes on to share, on November 7th of this year, I celebrated a sense of renewed hope for our country. So did I. On November 9th, I lost my sweet mom to COVID in North Dakota. My worst nightmare came true following 2 canceled trips to see Mom this year, both canceled because of the virus. I had been watching North Dakota's COVID numbers start to climb in early September. I had a sense of impending doom. Feeling helpless, I emailed the governor imploring him to enact a mask mandate, even before I knew my mom was positive. He did nothing until last week when it was too late for my mom and so many others. I'm sad and mad all at the same time. I need to hear Anti-Gravity again. And I need to keep being reminded to have hope again. First of all, Robin, I just want to thank you so much for sharing your story and your heart. And I am so sorry about your mom. It's kind of overwhelming to think about the fact that you've lost your mother to this disease. And man, guys, over 250,000 other Americans have also lost their lives. That's a lot.
A lot of families.
It's a lot. And think about the millions of people connected to those 250,000 people who are grieving, whose lives will never be the same. And, you know, I know that death is part of life. I know it's one of the most natural things to happen to a human being, is to die. And yet, the grief is real. And that's really what this song is about, is just acknowledging the reality of both the death and the grief and how we walk through it. So I thought I had this idea that I know that some of you watching probably, maybe you know somebody who has also lost their life to COVID, or maybe you just have lost another loved one, a loved one for any other reason, either recently or something that you're still grieving. And I just thought it would be cool is not the right word. I thought it would be meaningful if you feel like sharing their names in the comments as a way to just honor them and declare your love for them to the other people who are reading the comments, just to honor their memory as we perform this song for you. We would love to have you contribute your own story in a small way while we play Anti-Gravity.
Do you need a moment?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
I don't wanna wake up in a world where you're not there. Don't wanna sense the difference in the light, in the air. All the leaves will turn. It's out of my control. Melt into the earth. I know it's natural, not like letting go. Lift me off the ground, 'cause I can't hold you down. From where you're going, you're anti-gravity. And if I can't release, I'll end up floating nowhere. I don't wanna walk around in a town that forgot your name. I'll stand in streets and shout out. They can stare, call me insane. Well, that's what I might do. Go out of all control. I'm me without a you. Is that natural? Just like letting go. Lift me off the ground, 'cause I can't hold you down. From where you're going, you're anti-gravity. And if I can't release, I'll end up floating Lift me off the ground, 'cause I can't hold you down. From where you're going, now. Love to you all.
Yeah.
I love that this next song was voted in because I feel like it's a good antidote to the one that we just did.
Yeah.
And this one has a story behind it also, submitted by one of our Misfit stars. Our Misfit star, Kira Sandoval. And the song is How to Keep Moving, which is also from the 2017 album, The Space Between. And even though the grief that I was processing that year was a different kind of grief than the loss of a loved one, Kira latched onto this song from a place of grief of loss of a loved one. And she shares this story with us. She says, the Space Between came out the month after my dad passed away unexpectedly. At that time, I was still trying to recover from the death of my mom less than 2 years prior. The song How to Keep Moving became my summer anthem as I dealt with the fact that my parents were no longer on this earth. She quotes the song here. She says, teach me, where do I find joy? Where do I find joy after the breaking point? I need to do it. Keep moving. The words helped me stay focused on my family and helped me find peace even for a little while. Thank you, Kira. This is How to Keep Moving.
On the tongue.
lovely. I really enjoyed
I
that.
enjoyed it too. You know, I think if there's one thing 2020's taught me, that is such a stupid, like, cliche.
It's a 2020 sucks.
Is
that the lesson?
It's a 2020 sucks. No, and it does suck really hard. But you know, I think that it's taught me that we are who keep us moving. Like, we keep each other moving.
Keep us moving.
That's been true for me. Yeah, exactly. Like, the connections we have with our community is what keeps us going. I don't know any other way to approach it. Like, you know, we have learned this year that we need each other.
Yeah, that's true. That's really true.
Yeah. I don't have anything really more to say about that, except for this next song is really kind of about that. This next song was one of two songs that I wrote for this year's album after the pandemic started. It really, these last two songs really came from a place of a deeper understanding about not only how we need each other, how we keep each other going, but also the power that we can create with one another when we do that for each other and with each other. So this is from this year's album. It's called Sympathetic Resonance. I gotta be honest, I've been struggling today. Right behind this brave face, I am tired and I am scared. I've been second guessing if I made the right move, if I have the will to see it through. And then from out of nowhere, I hear you singing. Your sound waves resonate in my body. The sounds awaken, and I hear your sound. It's a different melody than my own, but I know where sounds like that come from, and now I know I'm not alone. You sang 'cause you had to. I know that feeling oh so well. Truth rising up like ocean swell. A pure and unstoppable force. You didn't do it for me, but singing your song out on
Unbelievable songwriting.
And great piano playing.
Oh, you're too kind. Stop it some more. Let's see some hearts.
You all, we have reached the last song of our show tonight. It's gone by so fast.
Man.
Hello,
But we're still going to look and it's going to be like an hour and a half,
Facebook
right?
people, and I'm looking at the YouTube camera now. I don't even know if that's working because it's the first time we're trying. Fingers crossed.
Lindsay, this is for you.
But you know, before we play this last song, I want you to remind you that these monthly Facebook Live concerts are brought to you by our Misfit Stars community. So many of our Misfit Stars are on here tonight. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being in our community. And I want you to know, if you're not part of that community, you could be part of the community. There's a place where you can join the Misfit Stars. It is at misfitstars.com/join.
It's so simple.
It's so simple. Jamie, what are some of the reasons why somebody might want to join Misfit Stars?
Okay, so let's start with selfish motivations first. Selfish motivations first. You get things. The things that you get are sense of well-being. That's a given. Secondly, we'll send you a sticker sheet in the mail. By the way, Stars, I'm a little bit behind on a couple of your sticker sheets. Don't worry. I've got it. We're busy with the election, but we're getting to it. You also get invited to the Misfit Stars private Facebook group, which, people, is the best, most soul-filling, heart-nurturing place on the internet.
Sure.
Some days it's the only place on Facebook I go because it's our private group that we have curated from the very beginning to be a place where people can be vulnerable and kind and authentic. And the conversations that people are having there are unbelievable, off the charts, wonderful. We had a whole in-depth conversation started by one of our stars last week about relearning how to cry as an adult after having suppressed that because of an abusive relationship. Oh my gosh, the conversation was amazing.
It was.
And all the conversations in there are that level of deep. It's just wonderful. And there's some lighthearted stuff too. It's fun. It's fun too. It's not just like all heavy, but it's amazing.
Yes, we've also just started a new feature for members of Misfit Stars, and that is our monthly Misfit Stars Zoom meetup. We had our first one last weekend, and it was so wonderful. I used to think that these Facebook Live shows were my favorite day of the month, and I don't know.
Second favorite.
Maybe it's second favorite now to the Zoom meetup night. But it was just a wonderful conversation, people getting to know each other. Folks who don't know each other, by and large, outside of this group, but they're starting to form real relationships with each other, share deeply, grow together, and it's wonderful.
And we're getting to start doing these meetups like in person. I mean, it's on Zoom, right?
Yes.
But it's in real time and we can see each other's faces. So that human element of those relationships that we've nurtured in the private Facebook group and elsewhere on Facebook and online have actually started to become relationships where we see each other talking and know what each other looks like. It's just the most wonderful thing ever.
Really great. And also by joining Misfit Stars, you are also supporting the work that Jamie and I do. First of all, making these monthly Facebook Live concerts possible is one of them, but there's so much more than that. We do a weekly podcast called Misfit Stars that you help support.
Shannon writes these songs. These songs that you're listening to her sing and me play piano on, Shannon writes those to put into the world to make your life better. That's one of the things that you're supporting when you support us via our Misfit Stars patron community. Yes,
one of the other things that you support is Jamie, because of the support that we have from our Misfit Stars community, is able to do a whole bunch of work for other artists who, in this time of pandemic, of COVID-19, have been stripped of their ability to tour and play live and earn their living that way. He's doing a bunch of work for free for a bunch of working artists, doing mixing, production, mastering, remotely, of course. But the Misfit Stars community is making that happen, making all these artists he's working with, making progress on new music.
It's amazing. I have finished 2 albums. I have sent 2 albums in the last week to people that were paid for by the Misfit Stars community. Literally, because of the support that we get financially from these small dollar recurring monthly contributions that so many of you make. My time is paid for, so I can do the work that I do for other artists who can't afford, because of the pandemic, to pay me at no cost to them. It is incredibly powerful. This stuff's going to start coming out into the world as soon as next month, and it's just so amazing that you all have made it possible for other people's art to get out into the world, not just ours.
You did that.
You did that. And if you want to help join that,
if you want all those things, to be part about all those things we've just talked about, go to misfitstars.com/join and join up.
And It's just a small dollar recurring monthly thing.
Yeah.
If you have big dollars, say for example that Jeff Bezos is watching this. First of all, Mr. Bezos, you gotta do healthcare for the workers, okay?
Yes.
Workplace protections, you gotta let them unionize. Secondly, you could do $20 a month. It starts at 5, but because you're Jeff Bezos, you can do 20. We would embrace that. We'd be very grateful for it. So thank you so much for that. We're very pleased that you're watching.
Very pleased.
Yeah, thanks.
We have one more song for you. This is going to be just like a celebratory end. It's the last song on this year's record, which was really inspired by the relationships I have with people like our Misfit Stars. That you know, when we join up with each other, I realize that we are a powerful force to be reckoned with, even in a year like 2020. This is a song called Clouds, and I hope you love it. And thank you so much for hanging out with us. Mwah. We send our dreams up in the air. Our sweat and tears float up like water vapor. We breathe out all we've taken in unison, our dreams ascend. Look to your left, look to your right. Grab hands, hold on, allies in flight. A chain of billions coalesce. This gathering to meet our purpose. This is why we're alive, together and rise, like clouds in an endless sky. This is how we get free. It's bigger than you or me. The power in this gathering. We are divine. Clouds in an endless sky. divine, friends. You are divine. Don't forget it. Don't forget it.
We love you.
We love you so much.
We're so happy to spend this time with you.
Thank you.
We wouldn't be doing this if it weren't for you. Literally, for you, the people watching this. We do it for you, but we do it because of you, and we do it with you.
It's a pleasure to do this with you. What a privilege to
Yeah.
do this with you. Thank you so much to our Misfit stars who made tonight possible.
If you
And who
want to
voted on the songs for tonight. You chose such great songs.
If you would like to become a Misfit star, if you would like us to refer to you as one of our stars, if you are down for that level of earnestness and you want to support the work that Shannon and I are doing in the world, please go to misfitstars.com/join. We could always use more support. We will pay it forward to other people as we have.
And also, we'd love for you to be part of this community because it is just like the best thing in my life.
Yeah.
Thank you, all of you who make it that. And thank you
Thank you,
for
baby.
being such a good partner.
Aww.
I love
Thank
him.
you for being a good partner. I love you too.
Mwah.
All right, people. What do you think?
We're going to sign off. We'll see you soon.
Love you. Talk to you soon.
Bye. And I gotta get the YouTube now too. I don't know how to say goodbye on this one. I really don't.